Hello students, good evening, right? Finally the wait is over. June 16th, we are at 6 o'clock, and the prima facie, by looking at the question paper of both GS1 as well as the CSAT, if you have to classify, it is on a moderate side. One. The second thing is, it is definitely not tougher than 2023 paper. The opening remarks on the question paper is this, and when you observe the composition of the question paper, I think by looking at the GS paper, so many of you would have felt a kind of relief for the reason that the previous pattern is back, that is with respect to the options that are filled with numbers, and lesser proportion of 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, and even comparatively lesser proportion of statement 1 and statement 2, and more proportion of one-liner or single liners. So we see that on all of this basis, we say that the paper is somewhere moderate to tough, but not as tough as 2023 definitely. Now, keeping that in mind, when we look at the composition when it comes to the question paper, we see that the subject-wise composition is also what is fundamentally bringing a dynamism with respect to the paper. Because when we look at the history section, we see that history section is around 8 to 9 questions, which is definitely on a lower end. And when we look at the questions from geography and environment, definitely it is on a higher end, that is with respect to 32 to 33 questions. And we see that the traditional geography coming back, the conceptual geography coming back, the factual geography coming back, the more weightage was seen with respect to physical geography, that is climatology. To a larger extent was focused on, that was the trend that was generally seen somewhere in 2014, 2015 when it comes to geography and environment. So that proportion of geography and environment is roughly around 30 plus questions. And one more surprise element that we generally see in this particular question paper is polity. And when we look at the polity is roughly around 18 plus questions, that is 19 questions to be in and around. And when you look at the nature of the polity questions, more or less again, the Bible for polity is back. That is, the importance of Lakshmikant has come back. And when we look at the nature of the polity, it is again traditional polity. Just like the geography, how it has come into with respect to the conceptual geography and physical geography on a higher end, we see that the traditional polity coming back into the question paper. When we look at the previous question papers, that is 2021 or 2022 or 2023, we observe that the polity was more of current oriented to a larger extent. But now we see it is more of static oriented, and the regular sources of polity, now they are playing back their own role when it comes to this particular subject. Now again, when we move to one more subject, that is economy. Economy is more of unconventional economy, that we can say, for the reason that previously we used to have number of questions on banking, and number of questions on money aggregates, and number of questions previously we used to have when it comes to the basics of economy and the basic terms of economy. But these days, in this context of economy, we see that definitely it has shifted towards conceptual economy, which is not mainstream economy. For example, if you look at that question of the fixed capital and the working capital question, that is not of the mainstream economy, that is more of a conceptual dimension. Or if you look at the primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector wala question, that is also again an offbeat when it comes to economy. And one more peculiar trend that we observe is the questions on financial instruments, the financial markets has increased. The number of proportions have increased when it comes to financial instruments and financial markets. So that is one particular trend that has to be seen when it comes to economy. But one surprising element is hardly we have any question from international economics. Previously we used to have some or the other questions on exchange rate coming into the picture, some or the other questions when it comes to forex. But this proportion we see, we hardly have questions which are existing with respect to international economics. Maybe it is with respect to current affairs, that is the Fed rates, the debt in the context of USA, that proportion is seen. Then apart from that, when we look at the schemes and the current affairs, we see now again UPSC had shown its own flavor when it comes to schemes. Once upon a time when we referred to 2017 question paper, we had so many questions on schemes. After that we had a minimal proportion of schemes. Again, like last year just we had like 2 questions with respect to schemes in 2023. Now we have around 4 to 5 questions with respect to schemes. So again the flavor of schemes was seen when it comes to this particular question paper. As usual, which was consistent when it comes to questioning, which was regular with respect to the questioning was IR or the international relations part. Just like some questions from organizations, some questions with respect to places in news, some questions with respect to the conflict zones. So all of these were definitely in the position, definitely in the lines of expectation. So on an average, when we look at the analysis, I can definitely say the surprising part of the question paper was not to surprise. Right, that was a kind of thing that was seen when it comes to the question paper, and definitely it is not tougher than 2023. Right, it is on a moderate to tougher side. That is what is on the basis of the composition. Now moving to the proportion of easy, tough, that particular question proportion. If you ask me, sir, how can you validate that and what is the proportion when it comes to easy, moderate? Now easy to moderate questions is roughly around 30 to 35 questions are there in the paper. For example, if you look at the questions from polity, if you look at the questions on Constituent Assembly, or if you look at the questions with respect to right to privacy, Article 21. So in those questions, what do we see is there is a direct, straightforward answer. There is no aspect of ambiguity. There is no aspect of probability with respect to arriving at a correct answer. So actually the polity section of the question paper is what is making it little doable to a larger extent. And not only the traditional polity section which is making it little doable. If you are very, very good with your decent basics of geography, if you are very, very aware with respect to the physical geography, I think the physical geography questions in the question paper are also making it doable. So in that context, on a combination under exam pressure, if you observe, I would say 30 to 35 questions are definitely easy to moderate. Now moving to the next proportion, that is somewhere moderate to tough. We see that somewhere moderate to tough, this is roughly around a proportion of 40 to 45 questions are between moderate to tough. Now when we say 40 to 45 questions with respect to moderate to tough, that means what is it making so moderate or what is it making so tough? Somewhere we see the questions are more logical in nature. Somewhere we see the questions are very, very factual in nature, right? Sometimes we see some random nature of applications when it comes to science and technology. For example, a question on radar, or for example, a question with respect to parasitoid, right? So in that context, what happens is some random natures of the questions which are seen with respect to science and technology and the random applicative aspect is what is making it tough. And definitely on the tougher end when we observe, we see that roughly around 25 to 30 questions are there which are on the tougher end. 25 to 30 questions which are there on the tougher end. So on an average, you should be able to have at least 90% of accuracy in these questions. And if you are able to manage, that means the question paper was little more doable compared to 2023 with less of ambiguity, with more of importance given to the traditional subjects like polity and geography. And with respect to the conceptual dimension, with respect to the traditional dimensions coming back into the question paper. If you ask me to classify this question paper in which era, I would say the question paper was somewhere between 2018 to 2020. Somewhere that particular era, we see the flavor of those questions being present when it comes to 2024 prelims question paper. Now with that basic understanding, let's get into some of the explanations. And after few questions, the explanations, my friend Chandu will be joining with respect to the explanations. So first question, the total fertility rate in an economy is defined as, it is fundamentally TFR. We know NFHS 5 talks about TFR is roughly around 2. Now when we observe that, it is talking about the average number of live births a woman would have by the end of her childbearing age, right? So that is what is, that is a straightforward question that can be seen with respect to TFR. We can classify this as a easy question. We can classify this as an easy question. Next question. Second one, in NBFC, in India, NBFC can access the liquidity adjustment facility window of the Reserve Bank of India. Now we know that in LAF, we see that liquidity adjustment facility fundamentally has repo rate and reverse repo rate as a condition. Now they are asking about NBFC can access, that is not possible. Right? This is definitely, this is directly present in your RBI website. So that is not there. So one is incorrect. Now when I am able to eliminate one, again this is the traditional options which the UPSC have come back. Now I definitely know that in India, FII can hold GSECs. That is definitely there. FIIs, QPIs, FPIs, all of these are fundamentally possible with respect to GSECs. So 2 has to be right, 1 is wrong. So in that context, option for this is 2 and 3 are right statements. So answer for this is 2 and 3. Next. Third question. In India, which of the following can trade? Can trade with respect to corporate bonds and GSECs. Right? Can trade with respect to corporate bonds and GSECs. In fact, all the 3 players can trade with respect to the corporate bonds and GSECs. So the answer for that is 1, 2, 3. Right? All the 3 can definitely ensure with respect to their transactions, with respect to their financial instruments handling. Now when we look at this particular question, see again the question on financial instrument, that was the initial remark that I was making with respect to economy, that more proportion of financial instrument questions, more proportion on money markets, equity markets, debt markets. Now which of the following are considered as the financial instruments? Now when I look at the financial instruments, I definitely know which would diversify the portfolio of my savings. That is one, which talks about the marketability dimension, which talks about the tradability dimension of an instrument. Now with that basic understanding, I know ETFs, I definitely know currency swap, and it is not with respect to motor vehicles. So when I am able to eliminate 2, I am left with either A or 1 and 3. So the answer for this is 1 and 3. Right? Answer for this is 1 and 3. It is not motor vehicles. In fact, motor vehicle is more of a non-financial asset. It is more of a non-financial asset, that is what is to be understood. Right? Next, moving to the next question. This is one of the beautiful questions that can be seen from the side. And when we observe with reference to the sectors of Indian economy, consider the following. This is what I was talking about, offbeat economy. That means more of concepts, but generally we don't see. Now here, this fundamentally demanded the basic understanding of what is a primary sector, what is a secondary sector, what is a tertiary sector. Primary sector deals with raw materials. Secondary sector deals with value addition and some processing element, and tertiary sector talks about the marketing, talks about the trade aspect of it, the service aspect of it. So in that context, what do I see? I see that dairy farm is primary, yes. Mineral exploration is definitely not tertiary. Storage of agricultural produce is not tertiary. Weaving cloth is secondary. So I can see that more or less option 1 and option 3, or the statement 1 and statement 3 are interchanged. So in that context, answer for this is only 2. Answer for this is only 2, that is dairy farm primary, weaving cloth is secondary. Next, with respect to which of the following can be used as a feedstock for sustainable aviation fuel. Now when I talk about sustainable aviation fuel, I know that it is talking about feedstock, agricultural residue. Residue means something which is left out. I definitely know when 1 is there, I can use my sludge, very very simple, and waste. In fact, all 3 have similar meaning. All 3 have similar meaning. So in that context, when you talk about this clustering approach, it is talking about, see, I arrive at either 1, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in that context, I can even use corn grain, right? I can even use corn grain. So the answer for this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Answer for this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So all the 4 can be used as feedstock. Now, next. Again, this is again a conceptual economy, that is, it is talking about. Somewhere a very very similar question was seen in 2015. A very very similar question was seen in 2020, where they were talking about capital investments, or which of the following is a short term investment. 2020 wala also, we had seen a similar question. So we see with reference to the physical capital in India, consider the following pairs. Right? Farmer plough, it's more of a fixed capital. Computer, fixed capital. Yarn used by the weaver, working capital. Petrol is a working capital. So in this context, only 2 are matched correctly. Only 2 are matched correctly, the other 2 are interchanged. The other 2 are interchanged. So answer for this is only 2. That is, computer is a fixed capital, petrol is a working capital. Next, 8th question. Now when it is talking about the 8th question, it is talking about interoperable network. Interoperable network with virtual worlds. We have been seeing that metaverse, marriages in metaverse, right? Marriages in metaverse, virtual marriages, virtual world marriages. So in that context, it is even talking about what? Simultaneously by millions of users. So that means it is creating a kind of small universe in that context. So with that basic understanding, you see, metaverse is one particular technology which is used here, and that can be the answer for that. Next, 9th question. With reference to the rules imposed by Reserve Bank while treating a foreign bank, consider the following. There is no minimum capital required for wholly owned. That is not necessary, my dear. You need some minimum capital. Definitely. Now, if foreign bank, is it something special? Now, when for Indian bank only, when we are able to have some basic paid up capital, then why not with respect to foreign capital? Because it talks about financial stability, it talks about volatility in the economic systems if you don't ensure that. So that dimension is not there. For wholly owned banking India, at least 50% of the board members should be Indian nationals. That is there, right? So the answer for 9th question is 2 only, that is B. Next, moving to the 10th question. Now, nobody would have expected a question on CSR, especially in prelims examination. Most of us think it is a part of governance question. Now, let's see. CSR rules specify that expenditure that benefit the company directly or its employees will not be considered as CSR activities. Yes, this is directly there under the guidelines of CSR. It is definitely not there. It is definitely not considered. The next one, CSR rules do not specify minimum spending on CSR activities. How, my dear? It talks about a proportion of 2%. It talks about a proportion of 2%. It definitely says that minimum you are supposed to have 2% of it being spent. So in that context, so definitely the statement 2 is wrong, statement 1 is correct. So answer is 1 only. Right? Now I would request Mr. Chandrakant to come over and take the session forward.
Hello. Yeah, this is Chandrakant Reddy. I'm a graduate from IIT Delhi, and here we are at R.C.Reddy Institute, and then we are discussing this 2024 prelims paper. As Gautam sir has previously said, the paper is definitely, compared to 2023, it is relatively better, on easier side, but we can compare this paper to 2021 and 2020 phase. So it is on a moderate to tougher side. And now we are continuing with this question discussion from question number 11. So with reference to radioisotope thermoelectric generators, consider the following statements. RTGs are miniature fission reactors. Actually, going with the flow, this might sound radioisotope and then generators and all. We might feel, okay, fine, this is the fission reaction that is going on. But that is not the case actually. There is this Seebeck effect and Peltier effect that you might have gone through and when you are going through your basics. This thermoelectric, you need to focus on this. It is like from the heat, the electricity is being generated. Unlike the typical fission reaction where chain reaction is going to happen, where it is a controlled chain reaction that is happening in a fission reactor. But this is not the case. So one is wrong, but people might overlook this one, and if we eliminate one, automatically will come at answer 2. But you can go through 2 and 3 also. RTGs are used for powering the onboard systems of spacecrafts, which is true. If you have seen this Martian movie, you would have recollected that as well. And RTGs can use plutonium-238 as a byproduct of weapon development. This is also true. There is nothing wrong in that. So this question is definitely on a moderate to tougher side, because people might overlook and then consider it as a radio isotope and then fission reactors in it. So yeah, the answer is 2 and 3 for it. Going to the next question. Consider the following statements. Giant stars live much longer than dwarf stars. Statement 2. Compared to dwarf stars, giant stars have a greater rate of nuclear reactions. You might think giant stars must have a lot of mass and all, so they will be living for a longer span, but that's not actually true. Giant stars, they're actually very huge. They have huge amount of mass, and then this mass actually leads to faster rate of disintegration. The rate of chemical reactions that are happening in the star, or nuclear reactions that are happening in the stars, are on a very high rate, and this statement 2 is definitely true. But the statement 1 is false, because usually dwarf stars, in their life cycle of stars, if you see, they actually tend to live a very long time, and a faded phase, red dwarfs, you might have come across red dwarfs, white dwarf and all. These giant stars are the ones actually which are creating ripples of these gravitational waves, etc., when they collapse towards their end of life. And then it will, so the statement 1 is false and 2 is true. So our answer is 1 is false and 2 is correct. D. Yeah. Coming to the next question. So seeing these science and tech questions, they are not like straightforward ones. Like logics comes in a place where people have kind of in some premise of understanding of the fundamentals, how things are working, how the conceptual part, if it is strong, they can actually correct it in a go itself. And yeah, this question is a very factual one, but at least what we can try is try to look at the options and try to come at 50-50 at least. Which of the following is synthesized in the human body? See, synthesized in human body. This is actually a good keyword that we have to see. That dilates blood vessels and increases blood flow. We might have seen nitrous oxide. People must have seen the laughing gas and all, which is nitrous oxide, which is not actually in our bodies. And nitrogen dioxide, NO2, we consider it as a pollutant and all. So it is out of let's say our scope. And nitrogen pentoxide is very rare to see. So we might come at probably 1 and A and D. And of these, nitric oxide is more of familiar, and then it is the answer in this case here. But definitely it's on moderately tougher to moderate side. At least you can come to 50-50 stage, I think. Yeah. Consider the following activities: identification of narcotics on passengers at airports or in aircraft, monitoring of precipitation, tracking the migration of animals. In how many of the above activities can the radars be used? See, again here conceptual clarity is very much needed. What is radar? Radio detective and ranging. It's basically used for detecting an object, whether it is at what location it is there and what speed it is moving and all. So we actually project the waves that hit the object, they come back, and then we analyze at this ground station. So this is the basic funda behind this radar. But if you see identification of narcotics and passengers, somebody who has kept something in his pocket, like these radio waves, they just go hit the object and then they come back again. It's not like they're scanning what is inside. So if for this, I think usually what this kind of shortwave radiation, shortwave EM spectrum is used. Like let's say in airports, typically what you see is like this IR spectrum you might see, and even on a higher scale, let's say there might be a kind of exposure to this baggage checking, etc. In that particular zone you will be seeing. So radar is definitely not the case. One goes off. And monitoring the precipitation, definitely these Doppler radars, etc. we might have studied in the geography part, where to measure the Indian monsoon, etc., monsoon arrival, etc. the Dopplers play a very important role in assessing where the rainfall is going to happen and when it is going to happen. Tracking the migration of animals, yeah, we can actually track, let's say, where they are, probably, let's say, group of animals, etc., tracking them. Probably their migration patterns, how much, let's say at what speed they are going. Let's say birds are going, a flock of birds are going, and from a ground station we can observe in which direction it is going, at what speed and all. So 2 and 3 are definitely there, and so here the option is only 2. This is definitely a conceptual question where people, if they go in a flow, they might actually miss the logic and then go with the 3 options, and I'm sure like most of the people might fumble at this place. Yeah. Next question. Yeah. Consider the following aircraft. How many of the above are considered 5th generation aircraft, fighter aircraft? Rafale, MiG-29, Tejas, Mk1. If you are following the current affairs that is going on, definitely we have been saying that Mk Tejas is a 4+ generation, 4th generation. In India, we have only the 4th generation one, and even in the Rafale deal case also, people have made some comments like, if there are going 5th generation aircrafts in the world, how can we stick back to only 4th generation or 4.5 generation? I think this is a 4.5 generation one, and then MiG-29 is already some older age one, So definitely this cannot be a 5th generation, which is the latest one. So here it is none, answer is none. It's a moderate to easier question, I would say, because anyone who is following the current affairs and then interested in this defense etc. related things would pick it out easily. Yeah. Next question. Consider in which of the following are hydrogels used? Controlled drug delivery in patients, mobile air conditioning systems, preparation of industrial lubricants. Select the correct answer using the given code. See, these are hydrogels. Wait a minute. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, hydrogels. In the exam condition, the things that we already know will be complicated, will get complicated. And in this condition, knowing about hydrogels, we might not have come across it, but seeing the options where they potentially can be used and all, we can actually, it is a wider, used is a very wider one. And hydrogels, we might see like preparation of industrial lubricants. Gels are typically can be used as lubricants in one way or the other, in somewhere, in some remote applications probably it is there. Mobile air conditioning systems, they have not specifically mentioned in this particular component of mobile air conditioning etc. It is a very broad spectrum, so you can safely think that okay, it might be used and all. Controlled drug delivery in patients. Controlled drug delivery in patients, there is also a wider scope. Hydrogels, if anyone is following current affairs, probably if they have come across, they might go with these two, but this is also a case where it is used because it is a very wide spectrum and then probably some way it can be used and all. And going with the properties of hydrogels, they are actually used in very prominently used in the controlled drug delivery, it seems, especially with the interface of biology and then these applications, medical devices and all. So that is the case, so we'll get all the above as answer. Next question. Which of the following is the exhaust pipe emissions from fuel cell electric vehicles powered by hydrogen? See, anyone who is preparing for CSE and also as a technology enthusiast will know that hydrogen fuel cells are so getting more awareness these days. And then what is a hydrogen fuel cell? Where H2 and then oxygen from other end goes to H2O, which is a cleaner fuel we call. I mean, in this process, we'll get the exhaust as H2O, and then we get the electricity, and then electricity will drive this motor, and then gives the power. So, like water vapor is the clear exhaust, and then these are the fuels that we need. Hydrogen is the hydrogen is the fuel, H2 is the fuel, and then from the other side, oxygen or plain air will come in, and then will lead to H2O. So, answer option D is the answer here. Water vapor is the exhaust. Recently the term pumped storage hydropower is actually and appropriately discussed in the context of which of the following things. See, one thing when you read a question like this, what you have to understand is you can't read everything that is under the sun. You have to really focus on the terms that UPSC has given you. In this formal document that they have given, you need to focus on every particular word that they have given. If you see, you need to underline the key terms, right? Pumped storage. This is a storage mechanism, what you have to understand. And hydropower. So this is something like you have to, something should strike in your head like, okay, something is storage is happening, something like a battery or something storage energy system that is happening. Irrigation of terrestrial crop fields. This is not related to something like power storage or something related, right? And irrigation of cereal crops. These two are of same category. It's of no use. I mean, like something that is used for this can also be used for this one. And long duration energy storage, rainwater harvesting systems. See, out of these things that are resonating with the question is only this option. So people with logical approach might go with the answer, might end up correcting this question because of understanding the nature of the question and then keywords that are given in the question. So going by that logic, this will be definitely on a easier to moderate kind of question. Yeah. So science and technology questions, as you can see, there are some conceptual questions definitely, but at the same time we do have some logical approach to arrive at the answer of these questions. So overall, the science and technology questions, if you see the logics and all, they are doable. At least 60% of the questions are doable. Membrane bioreactors are often discussed. Again, like if you see the keywords that are associated, membrane bioreactors. So just see those keywords and assess the options that you have. even if you don't know this particular topic. Assisted reproductive technologies. I don't know what is, I don't think reactors, bioreactors are linked to this particular option. Drug delivery nanotechnologies. Drug delivery and nanotechnologies, is it resonating with bioreactors as such? No, not sure. And then vaccine production technologies, these are kind of a broader one, okay, these two are off. And then wastewater treatment technologies. If you see bioreactors and wastewater treatment technologies, you can see like you might have come across these filters, membrane filters, etc. in this sewage treatment plants and all. And also we have this bioreactors, like let's say in sewage treatment systems we have this, all the organic matter also, inorganic matter also coming. So bio can also be linked, and this membrane can also be linked for this particular waste treatment technologies. Vaccine production, membrane bioreactors, at least you can come to 50-50 stage, and then if you can go a notch higher and then see the membrane filters, etc., if you can recollect that particular part. And waste treatment technology is a very broad one. So it might be the case where at least you will end up in a 50-50 and then go with, if applying a bit more logic, you can go with the option D. Option D is the right answer here. Yeah. Next question. With reference to Indian economy, collateral borrowing and lending obligations are the instruments of. This is actually applied kind of economics, where these are not directly taught in mainstream classes probably, but at the same time, if you see collateral borrowing and lending obligations, here they are saying collateral borrowing. Collateral itself says that you have to give something, you have to promise something, and then lending obligations. These are like for a short term thing that you are doing. So for short term thing, if you see, money market is the short term instrument that you are doing, and then here the answer is money market instrument. And yeah, next question. Consider the following airports: Donji Polo Airport, Kushinagar International Airport, Vijayawada International Airport. In recent past, which of the above have been constructed as greenfield projects? See, greenfield projects are being in news recently, and then they are the ones which are developed from scratch. Like they have to be built from nothing. So if you go with that, like if you have to somehow arrive at the answer, there are some clues, but again this is definitely a factual question. But you can actually try and figure out, like Kushinagar Airport. This is like a new one that is coming. Donjo Polo Airport, that is actually in I think Itanagar, and then northeast there are very less in number, and then government is trying to promote these new airports in northeast, and this is a greenfield airport, and Kushinagar Airport is also a greenfield airport. These are new ones. But if you see Vijayawada International Airport, you might have seen Vijayawada has a historical prominence, and then we have the already existing airport in Vijayawada. So it cannot be a greenfield, right? There is this another airport coming in Andhra Pradesh, Bhogapuram Airport, which is actually a greenfield airport because it is being built from scratch. So if you eliminate these three, Vijayawada, which is already existing one, so you would actually directly come into answer A. So this is why Gautam sir was saying, like, there are questions from moderate to tough which are factual in nature. They can also be solved if we observe things. So here definitely this question, people might not know Donjo Polo, whether it is greenfield, Kushinagar probably. But if you probably hold a bit more and then try to see things, options are also there to help, because this is the advantage that we got from 2023 paper, where everything was one pair, two pair. Instead of that, we are going to get again the options where they are helping us. They are actually helping people who have at least partial knowledge from the topics that are being asked. Okay, this is the D answer. Okay, next question. Oh, no, sorry, not D. 1 and 2. Yeah. Next question. With reference to water vapor, which of the following statements are correct? It is a gas, the amount of which decreases with altitude. Its percentage is maximum at the poles. See, this is a basic geography question. I think everyone, most of the people would have done this question. It is a gas, the amount of which decreases with altitude. Definitely, as we go to higher altitudes, the total atmosphere is getting thinner. So definitely, water vapor will also be on the lower side. And then we have the tropopause thing also there, where after which we don't find very less amount of water is found after the tropopause. Its percentage. So statement 1 is true, and its percentage is maximum at the poles. We know at the equator there is this huge evaporation going on. The height of this troposphere is also very high. There is so much of water in here. So the percentage will be like maximum at poles maximum at equator rather than at poles. So this is wrong. So answer is only 1. Okay. So next question, what do we have? Consider the following description. Annual and daily range of temperatures is low. Precipitation occurs throughout the year. Precipitation varies between 50 centimeter to 250 centimeter. Which type of climate is this? This is moderately on a tougher side, I would say, because they have actually given us something like close range. But going with this these properties, let's say these particular characteristics. So the answer here is marine west coast climate, which is actually the Mediterranean type of climate. They have actually twisted this thing and then said in this particular option. Actually, you can see if you have to eliminate, equatorial should be eliminated on the first go, because 50 to 250 is not the range. Greater than 250 is the equatorial region range. And China type climate, we actually find very colder conditions and all in this China type climate conditions. And humid subtropical, and in a humid subtropical conditions, the variations probably on may not be on exactly similar lines. So precipitation occurring throughout the year is also may not be the possibility in that case. So marine west coast climate is the answer. Yeah. Next question. With reference to Coriolis force, which of the following statements are correct? See, these are the set of geography questions that they are asking. This year, as you have seen, there are more geography questions and the maps associated questions on a very higher side. And the geography questions are also, they are on a scale of moderate to tougher only, I would say. Like they are doable, but at the same time we need to have some clarity over the concepts. If you should have revised them just before the exam, so that in the exam condition you are in a very flow to answer these questions. So Coriolis force, it increases with increase in velocity. As we all know, Coriolis force is proportional to velocity. It is there. It is maximum at the poles and is absent at the equator. Yeah, we know. At the poles it is very weak force. At the equator it is very weak, and then at poles it is very higher side. As we go on the higher latitudes, the Coriolis force is on very higher side compared to equator. So maximum at poles is it is maximum at the poles and is absent at the equator. It is true, and both statements are true. So C is the answer here. Next question. Yeah. On 21st, June 21st every year, which of the following latitudes experience a sunlight of more than 12 hours? See, so this is also a fundamental geography question where the Earth's inclination is represented this way, where this over this Tropic of Cancer we have this direct rays of sun going on, and we have this more let's say this is Arctic Circle. So for more than, let's say, we have studied like 6 months period of summer, and then 6 months of like days and nights are not uniformly distributed, just like equator. So on Tropic of Cancer definitely these days are on a longer side, and Arctic Circle it is way higher. So which of the following latitudes experiences sunlight of more than 12 hours? So definitely here 21st June is Tropic of sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, and then Tropic of Cancer is the Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle are the answers. 2 and 4, D is the answer. This is like fundamental geography question that has been tested here. Yeah. Next question, which of the following regions has the world's largest tropical peatland, which holds about 3 years worth of global carbon emissions from fossil fuels, etc. Okay, I'll take a pause here and then I'll be back. Gautam sir will be back, and yeah. We'll see you again. Okay. So we are back again on the 26th question. One of the following regions has the world's largest tropical peatland, which holds about 3 years worth of global carbon emissions from fossil fuels, and the possible destruction of which we can exert detrimental effect on the global climate. Okay, this is the which of the following denotes that region. So this is actually kind of you would say a not so familiar question, but again you might have seen the Congo basin, which has a democratic DRC, which is of very importance because of this particular thing that is happening, this particular peatland where so much of burning is happening. This thing is news. So in the recent years it has been in news. So definitely this question is on a moderate to tougher side. People who are aware of this current affairs only can do this question, but naturally people might go with A and B, and then B is B is the accurate answer here. Yeah, next 27th question. Yeah, with reference to, so this is one of the again applied kind of question where you have to see through the nature of question that is being asked, and then you can actually come at the right answer with carefully observing the options. With reference to perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances that are used in making many consumer products, consider the following statements. PFAS are found to be widespread in drinking water, food and food packaging materials. PFAS are not easily degraded in the environment. This is obviously like if it is like plastic things, they definitely are not being easily degraded. Only something that are organic can be easily degraded in environment, but with something that is not organic, is definitely on it will take on a longer scale to degrade. Persistent exposure of PFAS can lead to bioaccumulation in animal bodies. This is true. Something that will take a lot of time to disintegrate will definitely accumulate in the tissues of the living organisms. So these 2 and 3 are definitely correct. But coming to this particular question, you have to see how can this particular 3 happen if this 1 is not going to occur. So 1 and 3 will definitely be there, and this 3 to happen, 2 should also be true. Like PFAS, only if they cannot disintegrate, then they can accumulate in the bodies, and if they are accumulating in bodies, then it means that 1 is also true. So going by this analysis of the options that are given, you can go with all of them are being correct. 1 to 3 is the correct answer here. So despite maybe someone just seeing the question, PFAS, we have not seen this question, you should not leave the question unless, you should not give up the battle unless let's say till the last minute, and then try to look out for the options, hints that are given in this particular every question that is given by the UPSC. So yeah, next question. Consider the following carbide beetles, centipedes, flies, termites, wasps, okay, whatever. Parastoid species are found in how many of the above kind of organisms? See, you might get an idea. These parasitoid are something like parasites, and parasite species are found in how many of the above kind of organisms? Definitely we will not go and read encyclopedia and everything based on these particular organisms, but going by the logic, like there might be some kind of termites, probably some kind of flies that are there, some kind of centipedes that are there, etc. in nature, which are actually parasites. We can definitely go with centipedes that are there. We can see kind of worms that are there. They are definitely, they can be parasitic in nature, and beetles are also there. Probably wasps also we can see in different. They lay eggs in particular, let's say other probably species, or maybe some. They can be considered as parasite in particular. Let's say if not living organisms, maybe in some. If not animals also, maybe in some particular trees, etc. We can fruits, trees, etc. They can be considered as a parasite in nature, affecting the whole plant. So here all the options is a probable case, but we never know what finally UPSC can give. So here we are going with most likelihood the option can be D, but again this can be a kind of question where we might see a Dusra from UPSC, but we would want to go with option D, which is all the above, which is, because there might be some sort of species within this particular broad set, which is a parasite in nature. Yeah. Next question. Consider the following plants: groundnut, horse gram, soybean. How many of the above belong to the pea family? Here all 3 of them belong to the pea family, and then you can actually see if you, this is more of a factual question, we can actually, there is this 2021 question also, the 2021 or 2018 question where we had to relate cowpea, chickpea, we had to differentiate that particular question, which is on a tougher set. Even here also, we might try to, these are of a similar category probably, we might think, but we never know. Actually, this is a factual question where we have to come up with directly, if we know this, we can, if not, we can't do this one. Yeah, next question. Consider the following statements about the flying fox. Indian flying fox is placed under the vermin category in the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. This flying fox is actually the fruit bat. But actually, this is a very interesting question where even if you don't know what the flying fox, etc., you can actually do this because there are some hints given in this question, because no one knows actually what is the dietary habits of this particular flying fox, etc. But the statement 1 says vermin. Vermin we actually associate because why this category has been brought, because for the farmers, if their crop is being destroyed by some particular animals, etc., these particular animals can be culled. So to keep in that category, this vermin has been introduced. And this vermin, if you see, this is a keyword here, and if you see here, Indian flying fox feeds on blood of other animals. See, vermin is categorized because farms are being affected, right? So it's not something related to blood of animals, etc. So you can clearly see that either this particular statement is wrong or this particular statement should be wrong. And then most likely, if you see the options, statement 1 is correct and both are incorrect. Option is not given. So definitely one option has to be wrong here, and it is here, this one. Option 2 is wrong, option 1 is right. So the answer is 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. That's why, I mean, even if you don't know exactly what the exactly every detail of particular question, you can actually try to solve the question instead of try to, okay, do I know this thing or not? Because this is more of a solving kind of paper. These days UPSC has become that way. Yeah. Consider the following statements. Atmosphere is heated more by incoming solar radiation than by terrestrial radiation. Carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere are good absorbers of long wave radiation. Here actually he is giving a hint. He is trying to give you like kind of, guys, you remember what is long wave radiation, what is short wave radiation. So terrestrial radiation, we all know that Earth would have frozen if not for carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere, which is actually heating up the Earth to this livable, habitable condition. So incoming short wave radiation, definitely it is not, option 1 is false, than by terrestrial is false, and then carbon dioxide in other greenhouse gases, yes, this is true. So 1 is false and 2 is true. D is the right answer here. Next question number. (32). Yeah. Consider the following statements. Yeah. Consider the following statements. Thickness of the troposphere at the equator is much greater as compared to poles. Yeah, we know as the at the troposphere, the water vapor rises to very high level, and then troposphere is on a very higher side compared to poles. And at the equator, heat is transported to great heights by strong convection. These going in an explanation way, both statements are correct, and then second statement is explaining the first statement. Logic is there, and then it's a conceptual question which everyone can do more or less. Yeah. Next, consider the following. Okay, pyroclastic debris, ash and dust, nitrogen compounds, sulfur compounds. Even if they give something else, you know, in the particular scenario, volcanic eruptions, these are all actually things that can come out of this particular volcanic eruption. Definitely sulfur dioxide, we definitely know there are so many things, Pinotuba, and then many other dust clouds have been formed because of volcanic eruptions. Nitrogen compounds are formed at higher temperature. Ash and dust are definitely thing. Pyroclastic, you can see, even if you're not sure what it is, pyro, something linked to fire, something like pyro linked to fire, you can associate, and debris is something that is kind of dust or etc. So here all the above is the answer, and the people who have kind of analyzed the previous questions will definitely keep all the above, because this is the nature of UPSC questions which can be observed in the previous years. Yeah. Next question. Which of the following is are correct inferences from isothermal maps in the month of January? This is applied question, which is a good question, but actually they have made it on a simpler terms. Isotherms deviate to the north over the ocean and to the south over the continent. These are applied question because what we know is like over the continents, in the continents versus wait a minute, let me draw. Yeah, if you see any continent or northern hemisphere, let's say there is this roughly just this rough map of let's say Europe that is there, etc. Let's say hypothetical landmass. Over the landmass, if you see, this is a landmass and then this is a simpler note. In the northern hemisphere, in the month of they have meant January. January is like colder condition. Land becomes very cold, right? Isotherms, if you see on land, temperatures are very low because of land gets heated or cooled very fast compared to the water. These are typical isotherms that you can see on a northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So these first statement isotherms deviate to the north over the ocean and to the south over the continent. So these are deviating to the north over the ocean, right? And then this is like south over the continent. This is like north side and then south side. So first statement is true. These are kind of, if you see the maps that are there, isotherm maps, you can definitely relate to this question. And this is presence of cold ocean currents, Gulf Stream and North Atlantic Drift makes Northern Atlantic Ocean colder. You have to underline these particular keywords that are given. See, we all know that Gulf Stream and North Atlantic Drift, they are the lifeline for North European countries. We all know that. So statement 2 is false. They are actually warm currents which will actually keep the coast and then the seaports from getting frozen. So only one is true here. A is the answer. And yeah, next question. So these are good questions. We need to be kind of alert in the exam so that every keyword has been highlighted, and then understand what examiner is expecting from us. Which of the following countries are well known for the 2 largest cocoa producers in the world? This is like kind of advertisement question, I would say, because you might have come across, probably these are we would associate this cocoa production to Africa for sure, definitely. And then in this Africa also, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. This is actually a factual question, and yeah, people who might have let's say it definitely is on moderate to tougher side. So if you remember, maybe you can, or you can associate something from somewhere, you would actually answer this. If not, it is a leave out kind of question. 36th question. With reference to the Himalayan rivers joining the Ganga downstream of Prayagraj from west to east, which of the following sequence is correct? The correct answer is option B here. Gomti, Ghagra, Gandak and Kosi. This is also from a map pointing device. This year geography and environment and map related questions are on a very higher side. You can see from the initial description that we have given. Geography questions are prominently asked, especially map pointing and then fundamental conceptual kind of questions from geography. Yeah, 37th question. Again, rainfall is one of the reasons for weathering of rocks. Statement 1. Statement 2. Rainwater contains carbon dioxide in solution. Rainwater contains atmospheric oxygen. Actually, irrespective of your background, you have to be very clear that you are here for a generalist exam. They are not actually asking you some technical subject, because going with a technical subject, it will actually fool you rather than rewarding you. See, first option, rainfall is one of the reasons for weathering of rocks. We all know H2CO3 carbonic acid that is actually leading to the weathering of rocks. When this carbon dioxide is on higher side, like dissolved carbon dioxide in the rainwater forms the H2CO3, and then when it falls on this particular land and rocks, they will be withered because of the acidic condition that is being generated, and so many chemical reactions that will happen. So it is true. And then rainwater contains CO2, this is there, and then rainwater contains atmospheric oxygen. People will say oxygen dissolves in a very less quantity in water, but actually you have to see that, okay, to to some extent or other it will be present, right? So you can't deny that it is not present. So 3 statements are correct, but only weathering is happening because of this particular statement. So you have to go with, you should be clear, like both statements 1, 2 and 3 are correct, but only one of them is explaining the statement 1. B is the right answer here, and we should not go with the flow that okay both are correct and then both are actually explaining or something. B is the right answer here. Okay. Next. 38. Consider the following countries: Finland, Germany, Norway and Russia. It's a good map pointing question. This area has been in news, and then everyone who follows this will actually know. If you see this particular Nordic countries, NSF, Norway, Sweden and Finland, and then here we have this Great Britain and this Germany here. So here Germany is there, Russia is definitely not there. Norway is there because Finland, if you see NSF, Finland is over here, not this Norway. So Germany and Norway are there, only 2 pairs are correct here. Next question, 39. Consider the following statements. This is actually a tough question because they are actually linking multiple concepts. They are not only linking some factual information, but also from a geography point of view, the regions of different plateaus that they have involved, plateaus and mountain regions. Okay, Dhundar Falls, it's on Narmada, that is true. This Malwa, actually this is a kind of star mark question where we might see a surprise from UPSC because Hundru is on Subarnarekha river, Odisha, this is true. This Jersopa Falls, actually this is on Sharavati river, and the other name of it, it's a famous falls that is in Western Ghats. I think the Jog Falls, I think it is also called, and it is on Sharavati. This is option is false, and the rivers are true. This in Chota Nagpur Plateau there is true. There is actually small catch. Dhundar Falls, if you see in central part of India, Malwa Plateau is somewhere here, and then Narmada starts from this Amarkantak Plateau and then flows this way towards this particular region. This Dhundar Falls is actually situated in this particular region. So whether to include it under Malwa or not is actually a kind of question mark, but I don't think UPSC is so sadistic that it will touch the, I mean it is so critical that it will give this border, it will not consider Malwa into under this particular, I mean it might consider Malwa as the option. It will not be so cruel to not include this particular Dhundar Falls inside the Malwa. So what we are thinking is that 2 options are correct here, but yeah, it might be a case where only one can also be true, but most likely two options can be the case. Yeah, next question. Yeah, consider the following information: Central Asia, Europe, North America, South America. So what they have done is here, they have flipped the options. These are like kind of typical world geography kind of questions. We know Alps are fold mountains, Vosges are block mountains, Appalachian mountains we are in North America, South America, Andes are there, they are also fold mountains. Anyone will know Alps are one of the oldest, one of the like famous fold mountains. 2 is definitely wrong, and Vosges is in actually Central Asia, that's fine, but again they are block mountains, not the fold mountains. So here the answer is only 2 pairs. Only 2 pairs. Next question. Yeah. The organisms Chrysinda, Fraghopper and pond shaker are birds, fish, insects and reptiles. See, seeing this question you should not run away like I have not come across these things ever before, because there are always hints that you have to understand from UPSC. Hopper is that one, jumps, etc. You know grasshoppers, that is you might have come a pond skater, something that skates. These are all like kind of insects that are typically you might have come across, because grasshopper is also a kind of let's say a similar category. You might see froghopper, maybe grasshopper, etc. These are insect category. So there are you definitely can say birds cannot skate, or maybe birds will not hop, fish will not hop, and then the reptiles, etc. might not fit into the category of skating, etc. because they crawl rather than skate, right? Yeah, this is insects is the answer here. 42nd question. Consider the following statements. Many chewing gums found in the market are considered a source of environmental pollution. You have to just continue the reading. Many chewing gums contain plastic as gum. you have to see that, okay, these two, if you read the two statements, you will understand what is going on in examiner's head. Environmental pollution and then plastic gums as base. Okay, so that can be a case. We let's say many chewing gums contain plastic as gum. If this statement is true, then one is definitely true, because plastic will lead to environmental pollution. See, some people might think there are natural gums also, and then it is not an environment pollution. But the thing is, in the mindset of examiner, this use of plastic base as gums is in his head, and that's why he is giving the environmental pollution link and all. So going by that, we have to actually both consider these two options and then go with the answer. Both statements are correct, and statement 2 explains statement 1. Next question. Yeah, consider the following pairs: country and animal found in the natural habitats. This is actually a very tough question, you would say, because it is a very factual in nature. No one, unless they might have come across, it's very tough to tackle these kind of questions. Here none of the, wait a minute, yeah. Here none of them are correctly matched, and then these are actually species in use. But if you try remembering everything that is in use, it is you can't remember everything, and it gets very tough for revising in the last minute. So these are the questions that we have to leave off. Even the cutoffs, when the cutoffs are hovering around 90s, you need not bother about solving 100 questions, right? Because 100 questions means 200 marks. But what the cutoffs are like, maybe 90 marks probably. And if you see the trend, they are between 80s and 90s going on for general category. So then you need not like 90 questions means effectively 45 questions you have to shortly attempt. There are so many questions you can see in next polity questions that are easily attempted, and then you can score those questions. These are the questions. Seeing these questions, you have to say thank you, I'll go. I mean, if you don't find any hint here, this simply match the following. It's hard to find any kind of logic or hint here. So these are the leave out questions. Consider the following statements. World Toilet Organization. These kind of questions, these kind of multi-statement questions, these you should not leave out. You have to try to, by hook or crook, you have to try to solve these kind of questions. It is one of the agencies of United Nations. Actually, this is a very factual one, but seeing by the options also, you have to come to understanding that not everything is correct here. 1 to 3 is not given, right? World Toilet Summit, World Toilet Day, and the World Toilet College are the initiatives of this organization to inspire actions of global sanctions. The main focus of this function is to grant funds to the least developing countries. See, this is a common, if you analyze previous questions, giving funds for a particular organization, this particular is a common wrong statement that UPSC has been giving, and then this is not the case here. And then at the same time, it is one of the agencies of United Nations. It is also a wrong statement, because United Nations is a so important organization. You have to go through what are the agencies of United Nations, and then where it is being actually involved, at least major ones. So if you go through that one, given the previous questions and all, you would identify that one is also not there, and 3 is also wrong. So answer here is 2 only. Yeah. Next question. Wait a minute. Yeah, wait. Yeah. So, we done with, yeah. This question, consider the following statements. This is also a very good question. You have to actually deduce the answer in the given things, from the given things. Lions do not have a particular breeding season. Yeah, they are not dependent on climate also. So most likelihood this can be the case. And unlike most other big cats, cheetahs do not roar. Yeah, cheetahs have been in news for quite some time now. And then what are the differences between cheetahs, lions, cheetahs, and tigers? Everything has been, you might have covered. This is also fine. Unlike from the options also, you can see there is either only one of them is wrong, or everything is correct. Okay. Unlike male lions, male leopards do not proclaim their territory by scent marking. See, this cannot be the case, because even you see even dogs do their territory marking, lions do, tigers do, every of these particular predatory animals usually they do this particular territory marking. This particular statement is false, and here answer is 1 and 2 only. Whenever they give do not, no, etc., these are the caution words that you have to highlight and then see why not. You have to ask why not. If they ask you not, then you have to say why not. Okay, so moving on to next question. Okay, which of the following is the correct description of 100 million farmers? You have to actually, in this kind of questions, you need to understand what is current thing that is going on, etc. What is more important thing. This, if you have come across this question, this particular initiative, this is well and good. If not, then you should not leave out this kind of questions. You have to see the options and then mark the keywords and then come at the answer. Here the answer is A, but actually how can we go about this particular question? You can see it is it is a platform for accelerating the transition towards food and water systems that are net zero carbon nature positive, and that aims to increase farmer resilience. It's a very positive statement. This is looking very good one, but anyways we have to go through other ones as well. It is a international alliance and a network of individuals and farming organizations interested in supporting strengthening the development of organic animal husbandry. Farmers are not linked to only animal husbandry, right? There are so many there are farmers are a very broad category, not just limited to animal husbandry. So this is a only narrowed down one, and it is a digital platform fully integrated with service providers and built on blockchain technology. Lets buyers, sellers and other parties, third parties trade fertilizers quickly and securely. This is only skewed to fertilizers, and then this 100 million farmers, it is looking at a more broader perspective compared to this particular narrowed down into trading of fertilizers alone. It is a platform with the mission of encouraging the farmers to form farmer product organization and agribusiness consortium, thus facilitating the access to global open markets to sell their products. If you see, compare 1 and 3 statements, one is on a broader note where it is applied for every farmer, and fourth one is facilitating them for the trade, etc. This is like these kind of initiatives paper, you have to see things like which section this particular question is also being asked. If you see this particular question, lions, etc., and then animals, most likely this kind of environment or linked kind of initiatives. And then for those particular section that you are going on, this is more relevant one, like kind of this is a logical approach where you can come at the answer as well, where you have to be aware of which section that you are dealing with. We are dealing with environment section, so the environment aspect comes into the picture where you can solve this particular question from analyzing which section that you are doing, from observing which section you are doing. Okay, next question. Consider the following statements. Consider the following: battery storage, biomass generation, fuel cells, rooftop solar photovoltaic units. How many of the above are considered distributed energy resources? See, distributed energy resources. So you have to ask why not in this kind of questions. Why not this particular? Rooftop solar, distributed, it can be. Fuel cells, okay, you can carry them somewhere, and then these are definitely energy resource, you can carry them somewhere, right? Biomass generators are also distributed energy producing ones, they are also there. Battery storage are just like fuel cells. So all these things are under, they can be considered under distributed energy resources. So you can actually pair these two, battery resources and fuel cells. These two will be definitely there. And these are biomass generators and rooftop solar. These are also micro level, they are actually producing energy and supplying to the grid. And if not, standalone can also be used. Yeah. Next question, 48. Which of the following shows a unique relationship with an insect that has co-evolved with it, and that is the only insect that can pollinate this tree? Fig. Actually, this particular question, etc., insect that can pollinate this tree, etc. If you have seen how, if you have seen the fig fruit as such, and at the same time, maybe in the previous questions also, this is a particular, you can see this particular fig has been asked multiple times. Just a normal Google would give you a mental image picture of like, let's say, okay, this is the case, etc. And this is a factual question, but yeah, if you are thorough with previous questions, you would actually, you might have seen, Google this particular fig, what is fig, this particular insects, etc. You might have come across this particular under this famous, let's say, one thing helping other in environment section as well. Okay, next question. Consider the following: butterflies, fish, frogs. How many of the above have poisonous species among them? See, frogs, fish, butterflies, poisonous species among them. See, frogs, fish, butterflies, they are very broad category. Let's say there is some particular fish in Africa or maybe some particular butterfly in Africa. We don't know, they can be poisonous also. So when you come across these kind of questions, you have to ask why not, why not, why not. So you have to go with the flow, and then you have to go with all of this, and then actually there can be a species where in every of these category there is a poisonous species involved in these ones. So these are the kind of easy questions, I would say, but provided if you have gone through the previous questions thoroughly and then analyze how they are giving. Next question, 50. Consider the following: cashew, papaya, red sanders. See, Pushpa is helping here. Yeah, Pushpa, anyone who has, definitely people must have watched Pushpa movie where this red sanders, they would clearly say that only in India it has been grown. But anyways, red sanders is critically endangered, and then it is present in parts of Andhra Pradesh and some regions of Tamil Nadu. So red sanders is definitely there. And then these are actually in our history books also, in our spectrum books also, we have come across that Portuguese have brought so many new things into India: papaya, cashew, tomato, etc. These are examples of that are non-native ones to India. So these are not there. Only one of them is true. So red sanders is the case here. Now Gautam will continue. Gautam sir will continue, and then we'll proceed with the next of questions. Thank you.
So we are going to continue from question number 51. Question number 51, there is instability and worsening security of Sahel region. If you know Sahel region in Africa, you will automatically know that things are bad there. Then automatically there have been a military takeover. For example, last year we had one question with respect to military coups. So that is where we can derive the lead here. So the statement 2 and statement 1 both are right, and the statement 2 becomes a reason for that. So answer for this is option A. Next, 52nd question. It is talking about importing. Now, I don't know why UPSC is fond of apples now, right? We'll have to cross check. So India does not import apples from the United States. Why does India does not import? Right? Are Shimla apples so sufficient that we don't import apples from USA? Right? In fact, when we look at these apple stickers, we see imported from USA, right? That will be written. So when you eliminate the first statement, you see that one is incorrect, but the second statement has to be correct. So in that context, the law prohibits the import of geographical modified crops without the approval. That is definitely there in the context of your CART-Gene protocol. When you look at CART-Gene protocol, it fundamentally talks about your living modified organisms, LMOs, right? So in that context, answer is D. Answer is D. First statement is wrong. Second statement is right. Next, 53rd question. Now when you look at 53rd question, it is asking about question on speaker. Right? He shall not preside. True. He shall not have the right to speak. Don't you think that is a fundamental right of a citizen? Forget about speaker. Now when the fundamental right of a citizen, so in that context you eliminate 2. Now actually this is what is making it moderate paper. If you are able to eliminate one statement and arrive at the answer, we have roughly around 10 questions like that where if you are able to eliminate one statement, we are arriving at an answer. So this is what is actually going to make it a little more comparatively easier on the side compared to 2023, right? So that is one dimension. Next, 54th question. If you look at 54th question, it is asking about a bill pending in Lok Sabha lapses on its dissolution. Now it is talking about lapsing of a bill. I already told you in HR sessions that anything as an activity of Lok Sabha will result in lapsing. Only Lok Sabha, lapsing. So bill pending in Lok Sabha, lapsing, yes. A bill passed by the Lok Sabha and pending in Rajya Sabha lapses on dissolution, yes. A bill with respect to the president reserved for joint sitting, no. If you eliminate 3, so answer is 1 and 2. Answer is 1 and 2 when it comes to this particular question, right? I told you that lapsing of a bill fundamentally will have around 5 different conditions to be existing there. Next, 55th question. Now here with respect to Parliament of India, with reference to Parliament, prorogation of a house by the President does not require. That means we know that constitutional discretionary powers of President are 0. There is no constitutional discretionary powers which are existing for the President. That means if they are saying there is no advice of the Council of Ministers, that means that is a kind of discretion from the side of the President, which is incorrect. So when I am able to eliminate one, I am arriving at 2, that is either 2 and 3 or 3 alone. Prorogation of house is generally done after the house is adjourned, but there is no bar. Yes, there is no bar whenever the session is in. I mean, when the house is in the session, then they can go for prorogation. So answer is 2 and 3. Right? Answer is 2 and 3. There is no criteria which is existing for this. It is purely on the advice, aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Next, 56th question. Now, European Parliament approved the Net Zero Industry Act recently. I don't know. Look at the second statement. The European Union intends to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040. It is not by 2040. We know whole of the globe is looking at carbon neutrality by 2050. Right? And if you look at part of COP26, that is Glasgow Summit with respect to the Panchamrit, India has an ambition of attaining climate neutrality or carbon neutrality by 2070. So in that context, statement 2 is incorrect, but statement 1 is correct. So in that context, answer is C. Statement 1 is right, statement 2 is incorrect. Next. 57th question. Now recently Venezuela has achieved a rapid recovery from its economic crisis and succeeded in preventing its people from migrating. Now, rapid recovery, right? In any economy, nothing can be a rapid recovery. It is not a company, it is not an individual's financial condition. It is a country's financial condition. You can never have a rapid recovery in that context. So it takes a period of time. So in that context, definitely statement 1 is incorrect. Now look at the statement 2. Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserve. Yes, that is a correct statement. So answer for that is D. Right? You actually need not know certain things here. Right? And I was talking about, right, when you look at one of my review, the question paper at any cost demanded usage of common sense to be more common. It demanded common sense to be more common, but conversely we see common sense is not so common as such. So in that context, the paper demanded common sense to be common to a larger extent, and we see we have a series of questions which could have been solved just by understanding the basic nature of it. Right? Next. 58th. Now when you look at the 58th, now it is talking about the Digital India Land Record Modernization Program. In this, the answer is all the three are included. It is a central sector scheme. Now when it is a central sector scheme, it is definitely such that all of the 100% financing is done from the side of the central government. So that is one thing that has to be looked into with respect to this particular question. Next, moving to 59th question. That is with reference to Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan. Right? Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan. Last year we had a question on Janani Suraksha. Now again Matritva Abhiyan. Now this particular scheme does not talk about post-delivery healthcare services. So statement 1 is incorrect. While under this scheme, private sector healthcare providers of certain specialities can volunteer. Yes. Second statement is right. Second statement is right, but first statement is incorrect. So answer for this with respect to Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan, it is B. That is 2 only. Next question. It is talking about Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan. Now when you look at Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan, the first statement is incorrect because it is the age bracket of 18 to 40. It is not with respect to 21 to 40. So eliminate 1. Once you eliminate 1, we are arriving at 2 and 3, 2 only. Now look at the third statement. Each subscriber on the scheme shall receive a minimum pension of 3,000 per month after attaining the age of 60 years. That is a correct statement. So answer for this is 2 and 3. Right? You don't even need to know about the fourth statement in this context if you just understand that the first statement is looking at 18 to 40 years, not 21 to 40. So answer for this is B alone. That is 2 and 3. Next. Now Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. Now Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, that is with respect to the reservation with respect to women, 33% reservation. Now it is not going to come into effect from the 18th Lok Sabha. The present one is the 18th Lok Sabha. It is not going to come into effect from 18th Lok Sabha. After the delimitation commission after 2026, we see a probability of it coming. There is no definite period which has been mentioned when you talk about this. So when you eliminate 1, look at this particular questions, my dear. Now this is what is the speciality of UPSC once upon a time. For some reason they had gone for a different perspective altogether in 2023. But this is what is the general nature of UPSC question paper. This is what is the general nature of UPSC option setting. This is what is the general nature of testing an individual. You look at 2021 question paper, you look at 2022 question paper, you look at 2019 question paper. In all of these sets, definitely we have such that if you are able to eliminate one statement, you are arriving at an answer. Next. 62. Now it is talking about exercise Mitra Shakti. Exercise Mitra Shakti It is not between India and Bangladesh. It is not between India and Bangladesh. If I just know that it is not between India and Bangladesh, again I am arriving at the answer. I am eliminating statement 1. Mitra Shakti is between India and Sri Lanka. Mitra Shakti is between India and Sri Lanka. It is not between India and Bangladesh. So, one is incorrect. When one is incorrect, the other 3 are right. So, I am arriving at the answer. Answer for this is 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Statement 1 is incorrect. Next, with respect to writ of prohibition. Now, when we talk about this writ of prohibition, we would have seen in classes with respect to HAR that the prohibition is more of preventive, certiorari is more of curative in nature. So, when it is more preventive and when it is more curative in nature, we see the answer for this particular question is option C. That is a lower court prohibiting the continuation of proceeding in a case. Right. So, this is with respect to option C. Next, 64th question. Now, when we look at 64th question, it is a governor of the state who recognizes. It is nothing to do with respect to governor, my dear, because we know somebody identifies, somebody notifies and somebody modifies. So, in that context, what you have to see, this is done by the state government, this is done by the president, this is done by the parliament. So, it is not the governor but the role of the president which is to be seen in this context. So, first statement is incorrect. A community declared as a scheduled tribal state need not be so in another state. Definitely yes, that is true. Right? Definitely yes. So, second statement is right. Second statement is right. So, answer for this is 2 only. Next, 65th question. With reference to union budget, it is not on behalf of the Prime Minister. No, it is on the behalf of the President. It is not on the behalf of the Prime Minister. So, you eliminate this particular statement. At the union level, no demand of grant can be made except on the recommendation of the President. You need the prior recommendation of the President, especially in few instances, and one such is with respect to budget. So, second statement is correct. Second statement is correct. 2 only is right in this particular question. Next, 66th question. Right? So much in news. People were discussing, right? And we see the swag of our external affairs minister that we have been seeing. So many times it has been in news. Why Bharat matters, the India way, it is the Jaishankar's way. Right? It is with respect to Subramaniam Jaishankar. So the author of the book is S. Jaishankar. So answer for this is S. Jaishankar. Next. 67th. Argentina is worst of the economic crisis. Yes. Sudan, you know, war prone. I think this was last year's question as well that was existing. Turkey, in fact, nobody has gone for withdrawal of the membership with respect to NATO. So it is not Turkey. So it is only 2 pairs. If you would have observed these pair wala questions, most of the answers are only 2 pairs. Most of the answers are only 2 pairs. So in that context, answer is B for 67th. Next, 68th question. It is talking about SUMED, Suez Canal and Mediterranean. Suez Canal and Mediterranean. SUMED pipeline is a strategic route. Yes. SUMED pipeline connects the Red Sea with the Mediterranean Sea. Both the statements are right. But I don't see any description or I don't see any linkage between statement 2 and statement 1. So answer for this particular question, it is B. That means both the statements 1 and 2 are right. But statement 2 is not the correct description of statement 1. Next question. It is with respect to the Red Sea receives very little precipitation. Right? The Red Sea receives very little precipitation. In fact, this is right. No water enters the Red Sea from the river. Now, we will have to be little skeptical in this context. Of many sources indicate that no water is entering the Red Sea. But we will have to be little skeptical. But for us, the consideration is both the statements are right. For us, the consideration is both the statements are right. But we will have to look at the finalization of this particular statement. Right? The second statement is little skeptical. But most of the referred sources and most of the understandings indicate that no water enters the Red Sea from rivers. So both the statements are right. Okay. Next. 70th question, it is with respect to EPA. Which one of the following is with respect to sulfur dioxide, largest source? Now forget about this organization. Now which of the following is the largest source? Power plants. Why? Because most of my power plants use what, my dear? Coal. And what is the characteristic feature of Indian coal? Indian coal is characterized by high sulfur content. When Indian coal is characterized by high sulfur content, automatically the combustion process of coal will result in sulfur dioxide. So answer for this 70 is option D. Right? Next. 71st. Now it is with respect to the provisional president of Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly was in the priority list that I had given, was in the class, is in the paper now. Now you see, the answer for this is Sachidananda Sinha. The answer for this is Sachidananda Sinha, that is D. Next. Next question. 72nd question. With reference to the Government of India Act GOI 1935, the favorite area of UPSC, the Charter Acts, GOI 1909, 1919, 1935 they have asked. It provided for the establishment of an All India Federation based on union of the British Indian provinces and princely states. That particular statement is right. Defence and foreign affairs were kept under the control of federal legislature. No, they were kept under the control of governor generals. It was not under the control of federal legislature, but it was under the control of governor general. So second statement is incorrect. The first statement alone is right in this, that is, it provided for the establishment of All India Federation. Next, 73rd question with respect to this. See, whatever we are discussing is set B. Right, the order of the question is fundamentally found in set B. Right, which of the following is attributed to Bhasa? It is Madhyama. It is with respect to this option C, that is Madhyama Vayoga. Madhyama Vayoga was a playwright which was written by Bhasa. Right, which was a playwright which was written by Bhasa. Again, it was a question which was extrapolated from 2021 PYQ. Right, 2021 PYQ, you can refer. Next, Sanghabhuti, an Indian Buddhist monk who travelled to China at the end of the 4th century AD, was the author of commentary on, it was with respect to commentary on Sarvastivada Vinaya. Sarvastivada Vinaya, so option C. Now questions like this actually don't determine whether you are qualifying or not, because questions like this have to be left. Unless and until you are history optional, unless and until you have definitely read some sources of such things, you cannot answer such questions. So answer for this is C, option C. Next, 75th question. Now here, it is World Heritage Site released by UNESCO. Most of you have restricted to this, but you have to see which of them were recently included in 2023. We have discussed this in our current affairs classes. One is Shantiniketan, the other one is Hoysalas. So only two among them. Only two among them, it is not all four. Definitely all four are the World Heritage Sites, but which of the following are included in 2023? Only two were included. One is Shantiniketan, the other one is Hoysalas. Right? Okay, so this is with respect to question number 75. Next question. As per the Article 368, that is the amendment, by the way of, I can add through amendment, I can vary through amendment, I can repeal something through amendment. So the answer for this is 1, 2 and 3. Right? In such questions, if you are actually going for overthinking, then you can make a mistake there. Next. Consider the following. Which of the above are frequently with respect to low birth rate and the aging population? Now when you look at this, definitely one thing that you will have to remember is Japan is definitely there. Now when Japan is definitely there, 2 has to be there. When 2 is there, you will just have to understand whether Italy is there or not. Definitely Italy is there, because we see that European Union, most of the population of European Union is aging. So in that context, we definitely see Italy happens to be one of the countries in that particular region. So automatically the answer is, that is Italy, Japan and South Korea. Next, 78th question. A question on money bill, again a favorite area of UPSC, money bill, finance bill, always, evergreen. Article 109 mentions special procedure in respect of, it is not talking about which procedure, but some special procedure, because we know somewhere Article 110, 117, 112, all of these are somewhere falling in this particular ambit. So 109, yes. A money bill shall not be introduced in the Council of States, definitely yes. Right? So 1 is right. So 1 has to be there. 2 is also right. 2 has to be there. The Rajya Sabha can either approve the bill or suggest changes but cannot reject it. The Rajya Sabha can either approve the bill or suggest changes but cannot reject it. Definitely yes. That means, although we see that there is no activity of the Rajya Sabha with respect to money bill, but we will have to understand that they can neither reject that. So 3 has to be there. So answer for that is 1, 2, 3. Answer for that is 1, 2, 3. It should have to be accepted. Definitely no. Right? Definitely no. The maximum that the Rajya Sabha can do with respect to money bill is delayed by 14 days. Nothing much. Then, next question. With respect to ranks. Now suddenly this was a surprise question. This was a surprise question. But we will have to see. Now Lieutenant Colonel, it is not Lieutenant Colonel, it is Lieutenant. So 4 is incorrect, 3 is incorrect, sorry, 3 is right, 4 is incorrect, 3 is right, 2 is incorrect, it is not Major General, my dear. Major General happens to be one of the senior most position, it is not that. Then Brigadier, Air Commodore and Commander. Now in Navy they are not called as Commander, again they are called as Commodore. Right? They are not called as Commanders, they are called as Commodore. So 1 is incorrect, so answer is 3 only. Answer is 3 only, it is not 1, 2, 4, it is not 1, 2, 4, answer is 3 only. Only the third one is matched correctly. Next, 80th question. Now when we look at the 80th question, you see that it is asking about the composition with respect to Northeastern Council. Now when we look at the composition with respect to Northeastern Council, which all are there, Governor of the constituent states, Chief Ministers, 3 members, Home Minister, all the 4 will be there as part of the Northeastern Council. That you need not be confused in this context, it's a straightforward, simple question which has to be remembered. Next, 81st question. Now this is a tricky question that is existing. But if United States were to default on its debt, holders of the US Treasury will not be able to exercise their claims to receive payments. Now first suppose let's use some logic. If this was the condition, don't you think none of the investments would be made when it comes to the bond market with respect to US? Because they have some guarantee which is to be seen. So in that context, definitely statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is right. So answer is D. Statement 1 is incorrect. They have the capacity, they can actually go and ask for it. So statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is right. Next, 82nd question. It is asking about syndicated lending spreads the risk of borrowers. Now when you look at this 82nd question, you see syndicated lending. That means somewhere we see a group of people are lending this. Now definitely when a group of people are lending this, I see that I am going to diversify my risk. So definitely the first statement is right. Now when you look at the second statement, the syndicated loan can be a fixed amount but cannot be a credit line. Why it cannot be a credit line? Why it cannot be credit line? Because I see that the lending purpose of the syndicated lending purpose is, I see that I am going to have bulk amount to be lent there. So in that context, statement 2 is incorrect and statement 1 is correct. So option C. Next, 83rd question. Now in fact, if you believe it or not, this particular question was directly picked up from Economic Times. Right? If you go back and refer to Economic Times understanding of CBDC, that is digital rupee, all the statements will be there in the order. You please refer. So in this context, it is a sovereign currency which is given by RBI. Yes, it appears as a liability irrespective whether it is digital, whether it is a fiat currency, it is going to be on the liability side of the RBI. It is insured against the inflation. No, it is not inflation adjusted instrument. No, it is just a digital form of it where I am going to reduce the cost of printing. That is what is existing. So statement 3 is incorrect. When I remove statement 3 and I know 1 and 2 are right, so I am left with it is freely convertible against commercial banks. Yes, it is freely convertible. That means I can go give it exchange for cash. So answer for this is D. 1, 2 and 4 is what is the answer for that. Next, with respect to the Buddha was generally known in the context of the epithets. Now in this context we see it is not Nayaputta is the Mahavira. So you eliminate 1. When you eliminate 1 and you definitely know Shakyamuni is Buddha. So in that context answer is 2 and 3. Answer is 2 and 3, right? 1 is not there, 1 is Mahavira. Answer is 2 and 3 for this. Next, 85th question. Now this is one question which you will have to be little careful because now this is one new kind where UPSC has gone. Instead of looking at just 2, now it has gone for the third column. Now Chandraketugar was asked in 2021. Now in that Chandraketugar is in West Bengal, so it is not in Odisha. The first statement is eliminated. Now when I eliminate the first statement, I am left with 2 and 3, 3 and 4. I know Inamgaon in Maharashtra, that is related to Chalkolithic. So definitely 2 has to be right. So answer is 2 and 3. That means I need not know anything about 3. And when I look at Salihundam, it is in Andhra Pradesh, but it is not rock cut cave, but it is with respect to the stupa remains which are present with respect to Salihundam. So that is the fourth statement. So answer is 2 and 3 for this particular statement, for this particular question. Next, who among the following are the medieval with respect to Portuguese to build fort and Patkal? Krishnadevaraya. Right, we know favorite area of UPSC again Vijayanagara. Again Vijayanagara, that is with respect to the Krishnadevaraya that is present. Right. So answer for this is 86A. Next, 87th question. Under the Roy-Duwari settlement of revenue collection, the peasants were exempted from paying in case of bad harvest. If Britishers were so nice, right, things would have been fine. So definitely it is not the first statement. Under the permanent settlement in Bengal, if the zamindar failed to pay his revenues to the state on or before, he would be removed from his zamindari. Definitely, my dear, definitely the second statement is right. Second statement is right. Next, 88th question. Now when I look at 88th question, there are no parables. So many people did not know the meaning of parables. Now my simple trick that I keep telling you in class is, when you don't know the meaning of parables, immediately go to Hindi translation. In Hindi translation it is given Niti Kathas. Niti Kathas, I know whole of Upanishads is Niti Kathas. So in that context it is not correct. Upanishads were composed earlier than Puranas. Yes. Puranas somewhere in the Gupta period that we see, Upanishads somewhere in BC. So in that context, the second statement is right. Next, 89th question. Now it is talking about, when I look at 89th question, India is the member of International Grain Council. Now how can you come to a conclusion there? Now we know that India happens to be one of the largest exporter of food grains. Now when we are one of the largest exporter of food grains, in fact the largest exporter of food grains, the first, we are position rank 1 with respect to the export of food grains. When we are rank 1 with respect to food grains exports, we will definitely have to understand something which is related to Grain Council. India has to be a member. Then a country needs to be a member of the International Grain Council for the exporting. Now this is very, very imposing in nature. So definitely statement 2 is incorrect. So answer is A alone. 1 alone is right. 1 alone is right. Next, 90th question. Now which among the following were the latest inclusions of, this is straightforward, we had discussed this particular thing in the current affairs session also. It is Garba dance. It is Garba dance Gujarat, right? Next, 91st, how many of the delimitation commissions were constituted? How many, my dear? Right, we would have done this 100 times in HAR, high impact revision, that is 4. Next, 92nd question, the Constitution 91st Amendment, 8th schedule. We know I would have given you 21, 71 equals to 92. All these three are related to the amendments with respect to the language. Now here I see it is not Maithili. It is not Maithili, it is Manipuri, Konkani and Nepali. That means 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 it is. I know that the 92nd Constitutional Amendment is what? Maithili, Santali, Bodo, Dogri. Right? Those things are what are added with respect to this. Next. So answer for this is Konkani, Manipuri, M and K. That is Manipuri, Konkani and Nepali. Next, 93rd question. When you look at this, right, something was supposed to be asked on elections. Now somewhere these were the parties which were present in India during the first elections. So in that context we see Swatantra Party is C. Rajgopalachari, 2019 PYQ, 2018 PYQ, we have a question. So in that context, if 4 is interchanged, that means Socialist Party and Narayan Dev, 2 and 4 are interchanged. When 2 and 4 are interchanged, what is my answer? Only 2. Only 2 is what is the answer. That is what I was telling you, that in most of the matching questions, in most of these questions, I see that there are only 2. Is the 2 pairs are what are matched correctly. Next question. The power of municipalities are given in 9A. Yes. Emergency provision in 18. Yes. Provision with respect to amendment in 20. Yes. So all the 3 statements are right with respect to this particular question. That all the 3 statements are right with respect to this. Next, 95th. This question you would have used something here. Now interstate, not state. Interstate, not state. Interstate, union. Corporation tax definitely is not part of state list. So answer is C for this. Answer is C for this. If you look at the subject wise, you cannot derive the answer here. You will have to go at simple basic understanding about something which is interstate will have to be either in the concurrent list or will have to be either in the union list. That is to be right to privacy Puttu Swami case, right? Article 21, right to privacy Puttu Swami 21, right? So many times. 97th question with respect to CDS. Permanent chair of COSE, yes. Exercises military command. He doesn't exercise a military command. So eliminate the second statement. When you are eliminating the second statement, I am arriving at the answer. The third statement is right and the first statement is right. 1 and 3 alone is right. It is not the second statement. Next question. operation with respect to undertaken upliftment of the local people in areas addressing of their basic needs. Operation Sadbhavana. Operation Sadbhavana is what is marked with respect to this. Operation Sadbhavana is marked with respect to this. This is with respect to the people in Ladakh, to bring them back into the mainstream. Right, this was what was the operation which was undertaken by army. Operation Sadbhavana. Next, 99th question. Which of the following has the longest border? When I look at the longest border, it is Canada and USA. The longest border is Canada and USA. Right? So this is what is the fundamental thing that you will have to understand here. Next, the last question. The last question, that is, which of the following about the ethics committee as expected? Mahua Mahapatra case, right, as expected. Now in this, initially it was an Adha committee, yes. Only a member of Lok Sabha. Why only a member of Lok Sabha, my dear? Why only member of Lok Sabha? So you eliminate second statement. When you eliminate second statement, we are arriving at the answer. All that you were supposed to do is in more than 10 questions. At least in more than 10 questions, you eliminate one option. We are arriving at the answer. Right? At least 20 questions we see that there were direct answers which can be put with respect to polity, with respect to geography. And this is what is making it around 35 questions to be moderate. Now when I see the 35 questions to be moderate, I see. So we see that roughly around 10 questions like that, if you are able to eliminate one, you are arriving. 20 direct, polity, geography, somewhere there. Around 35 questions, so totally around 35 questions from easy to moderate. Around 35 questions from easy to moderate, right? I would request my friend Chandrakant also to join me with respect to looking at what kind of cutoffs can we see, what kind of dynamics should we consider, right? Yes.
Yeah. Hello everyone. So seeing this particular scenario, we can definitely say cutoffs will not be as slow as 2023. Yeah, just a minute. So cutoffs cannot be in any case as low as 2023. That's what we feel. But it would be on a similar note as 2021. Similar note as 2021 paper, because if we see the standard of paper, it is actually a good standard.
See, I think if you can differentiate some easy to moderate, I think around 35 I can put.
Yeah.
I think that should be fine number. 35 means if I'm getting them right, around 70.
Yeah.
Then moderate to tough, around same proportion, 35 questions on an average.
True.
And tough and random nature combined together around 30 questions. So in this probability, I see, I would definitely not touch these questions.
True.
Now for an individual who has attempted and for an individual who has more experience,
True.
Now maybe don't you think for that individual around getting 60 questions net right?
Yeah, effectively.
I mean
correct.
60 questions right, and after eliminating all the negatives, maybe getting 52 net right.
True, that is true. Yeah.
Can be a decent approach with respect
Somebody
to
who hasn't been in preparation for, let's say, at least some 2 to 3 years will be at this mark. Will be at this mark.
So 52 will be for an individual who has cleared prelims
Effective
before.
questions. So for a general category, let's say someone who is from like decently prepared will be around 104 marks, 103 marks for sure. I mean like any good preparation guy.
So a good preparation guy can score around 104 with at least who has cleared prelims before and who has some sort of experience.
True.
So in that context, 104 for that individual.
Yeah.
So with 104 with that individual, maybe
a good person who has prepared for at least 2-3 years.
Okay.
Probably.
So maybe 15% lesser than that, 10 to 15% lesser. So probably for a general candidate, can I say it will be very, very similar to that cutoff of 2021.
Sure.
Right? So maybe if you look at the cutoff predictions, but we know number of speculations goes on, number of parameters are there, number of variations are there. Considering the CSAT paper to be moderate, I think that's what
Definitely.
you can say.
CSAT paper has become very easy, it seems, especially this particular year. Last year it was definitely the make or break situation, but this time CSAT was a kind of, I mean, if not a cakewalk, definitely who has prepared seeing the last year scenario, they have easily made it.
So in that
At
context,
least they have the
context, I don't think CSAT is going to be a determining factor now.
Yeah.
So what is going to be a determining factor for you to qualify prelims is what is your score in GS1. So taking in this parameter, looking at the on the prima facie it would have appeared easy, but the options were tricky.
True.
SNT was tricky.
True, definitely. Because unless they are conceptually clear, I mean, they have covered that particular topic. If you see the questions like, let's say, even the radar question and this stars question also, and there are 1-2 questions also, which if you are clear of the concept, then only you can hit that. Definitely, there are logics, but even this, there is a good standard questions, the mix of standard questions and then some logically solvable questions, and definitely on some, let's say 30% of them are easy to moderate kind. So it is more or less on a 2021 side paper, a bit easier to 2021 paper, I would say.
But so cutoffs will be somewhere around 2021 for the reason that we have more posts, 1000 plus posts. So probably around that, maybe we cannot arrive at an exact figure, but just to give you a sense of relief,
90.
that roughly around maybe 90 for a general candidate plus or minus 3. It is too early.
Yeah.
On the prima facie, depending on the conversation with our experience of writing this examination, looking into the number of variations with respect to this, and we ourselves looking at the question paper,
True.
and in that context considering around 90 plus or minus 3 with respect to a general candidate, not a final cutoff, but definitely which is very, very similar to 2021.
And you can correlate the same. If you see the previous trend, the average marks that are on lesser side, like let's say maybe 4 marks or something for each category, respective category.
The respective categories variation will anyway happen. This is for your candidate, general candidate, right? So that's it from our side.
Yeah.
All the very best.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.